Well, it's just turned 7 o'clock in the evening, and I have done the first Shanker Prakshalana that I've done in about 5 or 6 years, something like that. I did two over the period of a year, and both were complete failures. And vowed I would never, ever, ever, ever try a Shanker Prakshalana again. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you a video clip very soon of my most recent attempt at a Shanker Prakshalana, which I started about, I think about 11 o'clock this morning after doing some yoga. And I want you to guess from the clip as to whether you thought it was a success or a failure. Okay? So there comes a time when you activate what they call the spout, which is basically when you've got the whole of your system filled with salt water. We're just terrible. Just the screen a little bit. So yeah, my whole system is filled with salt water. So every time I take another couple of swallows, and I have to rush off to the toilet immediately. It's like having really quite severe diarrhea in every possible way, and it's just liquid that pours out your bum. So the reason I failed it the first time was that I drank too fast, and I ended up puking over myself, which was really unpleasant, and I already feel really quite nauseated, and I'm probably only about a third of the way through the treatment so far, so I'm going to slow it down a bit and just take my time, do a bit of reading. I feel sick as a dog at the moment. So yeah, maybe looking at me now, you probably might think, gosh, well, maybe you succeeded despite. The answer is no, I did not succeed. Very shortly after that clip was recorded, I had to more or less crawl towards the toilet. I could hardly move. I was scared that I was going to puke over the floor. And I crawled to the toilet, stuck my head in the bowl, and just... So that's my third attempt, a failure. I mean, it's not a complete failure in that I actually got the spout going, and at the very end, the water that was coming out was yellow rather than brown. Maybe that's a bit too much information for some of you, but if you're really sensitive about too much information, you probably shouldn't be following me either on YouTube or on Facebook, because too much information is what I intend to share. So I was speaking to my beloved this afternoon rather, and she was saying, "Oh, for fuck's sake, why do you do these things to yourself?" And well, it's a question that a lot of people are going to ask. I think a lot of people have asked, why do I do these things? Why don't I just sit and watch Strictly Come Dancing, have a steak and chips and a bottle of beer and whatever else, you know? The thing is that I have spent a considerable portion of my life living a pretty toxic lifestyle. I was very, very heavily into ecstasy use for about 12 years. I used it at least 2 or 3 times a month. At its peak for quite a number of years, I was using it 2 or 3 times a weekend. And I mean 2 or 3 nights in a row, not 2 or 3 pills. I mean, I could go through, I think I once went through about 20 pills in a weekend. Not very clever behaviour, I have to say, but in my defence, it did make me feel pretty fucking good. So I used a pretty crazy drug. I also used cocaine as well. Um, and I did get offered a wake up call when I was 39 years old because I had a brain hemorrhage, and that should have been my wake up call. But even then, I still didn't give up my lifestyle and start, becoming more conscious, more health conscious, until well into my 40s. I think I was 47 years old when I finally gave up smoking. Um, and I didn't change my life quick enough. I don't have any regrets about my life because everything I've done in my life, had amazing experiences, and I've learned a huge amount. And there's no point whatsoever in regretting the past. But I would say that I wish to fuck that some of my younger friends who are into drug culture, who are into smoking, who are into all that sort of stuff, would listen to what I have to say and consider changing their lives a little bit earlier than 47, because I'm going to share with you all. There are some stuff there's even for me. There's some stuff that's maybe a little bit too much information. I'm not going to give you the graphic details of it, but I have a number of symptoms which could possibly be cancer. I've looked into the symptoms. Again, I don't want to share them with you because it's quite personal stuff. And there's stuff that right now I don't want to know about, because I think once you tell yourself you've got the big C, then it becomes an awful lot more difficult. And I still believe in magic. I still believe in the power of the mind, and I still believe in the power of the mind to change things. And if I go to a doctor now and I get diagnosed and I get told I've got cancer and I need to be cut open and they want me to be irradiated and all the other things that they might want to do to me, there's some part of me I suspect will wither and die. I'm not really a fighter. I've known many people who have had cancer, and I know the ones who are fighters and survivors, and they almost always, not every time, but almost always have fought and survived. And I know the ones who, as soon as they know that they've got an illness of that kind, they just crumple into themselves and they give up. And I think I'm that type of person, So I figure that the best thing is not to know, and to believe that it could be something else, and it could well be something else. I'm not trying to make a drama out of a crisis here. I'm just accepting that there are all sorts of possibilities with the symptoms that I have. And this year I have decided to dedicate to self-healing, and there are a number of areas in my body where I have problems, and one of them is the liver and the other is the colon, and I don't know that they're necessarily as bad as I could imagine, but I do know that regardless they need some TLC, and my lifestyle needs to change, because although I've more or less, I wouldn't say I've forever stopped taking ecstasy. I did have some about 2 years ago, and it was quite nice. And I'm never going to say never about that, but I'm most likely never going to take ecstasy again. I haven't taken cocaine in years and years and years. I've more or less stopped drinking. I'll have the odd little glass of wine here and there, I've more or less stopped drinking. I've not just quit eating meat, which I did in 2010. I also quit eating fish, and I've had a few lapses and lapses on the fish, but I haven't had any fish for ages now. I think about a year since I last had a piece of fish. Or maybe, no, actually, tell a lie, so it was 6 months. Gosh. Anyway, I'm not going to eat anything that can move by itself. It doesn't have roots or something, you know. And I have also decided that I'm moving towards veganism. I'm taking a sort of flexitarian approach to veganism because it's really hard to feed a vegan if you're not a vegan yourself. So I don't want to lose friends and social occasions and to alienate my family by, you know, becoming some hardcore vegan. But in my own house, aside from a small supply of homemade hummus, my household is now completely vegan, and when that hummus is done, I shall be making some some homemade hummus with a kid on dairy-free yogurt. So I'm taking all these steps because I believe that my body needs it for my health, my well-being. And so, to get back to the shanker, yes, it was a total bloody failure. Again, you know, well, not a total failure. I mean, I actually did what's called a partial shanker. But I am going to be doing the same thing this time next month. I'm going to be doing another shanker. I'm hoping to get another recipe for it using bouillon powder or something like that, if it's possible. But if it's not, I will do another salt shanker again, and I will continue doing them. Possibly for the entire duration of 2017. I don't know. I haven't made an absolute decision about it. I have decided that I'm going to do colon flushes and I am going to do liver flushes for the foreseeable future. And we'll see if I get better, if the symptoms recede and go away. You know, if they do, I will be very, very grateful indeed to get my wellness back again. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not terribly ill, but it's just there are certain symptoms that are quite disturbing, and I really hope to be able to heal myself of them. And I have decided that I'm not going to go near a doctor or a hospital until the end of 2017. If I get to the end of 2017 and I haven't seen a significant change in the symptoms, if I have, you know, I'm going to research into all sorts of other alternative remedies as well. I'm not going to just leave it just doing the shankers and the liver flushes. If I don't find I'm going to try and find other things I can do. For example, I'm in my milk, my smoothie in the mornings. I use Moringa oleifera and milk thistle seeds, which are both supposed to be good for the liver. So I'm looking into more and more stuff about health, and because this is my own personal journey into hopefully health and wellness, I'm going to share my findings with you, because I'm sure that there are lots of people out there who are struggling with health issues, but who don't have the same trust in allopathic medicine as perhaps our parents' generation did. And my distrust actually goes right back to when I had my brain hemorrhage. Because when I had my brain hemorrhage, the doctors kind of tried to lean on me and suggest that I have an operation. They were quite heavy-handed with me about it. And one of the doctors unfortunately made the mistake of telling me the statistics of success and failure with a particular operation that they were offering me. They were offering me what they were going to do is they were going to send a clip up through my groin into my brain, and somehow that clip was going to clip the blood vessel in my brain that had weakened walls or whatever it was that caused me to have an aneurysm. And the doctor said, you know, this operation is 80% successful. Making it sound quite big. 80% sounds good. You know, if you got that in an exam, you think, wow, but 80%, that's great. But when it comes to medical procedures and people's brains, I think you should be aiming for at least 99%. Do you know what I mean? Because let me twist that statistic for you and just turn it on its head. What that doctor actually said to me, this is the way I heard it: this operation is 20% a failure. And so I asked them to break it down for me. What do you mean by what about the 20% that you fail with? He said, well, 3% die and 17% end up in some sort of persistent vegetative state, you know. I thought to myself, I don't want to end up in a persistent vegetative state. I certainly don't want to die, but if I had a choice between the two, I'd rather die than end up being a cabbage. He didn't talk to me about the folk that had ended up in wheelchairs. He didn't talk to me about the folk who had all the symptoms of a stroke that they get. And you know, since having had my brain hemorrhage, which was in 2001, I have met or heard of quite a number of people who have had brain hemorrhages, and out of all of them, every single one from, you know, Sharon Stone to Edwin Collins, I can't remember all the names now. There was quite a number of people that have had it. There's quite a few folk who have died. I think Sharon Stone is the only one that seems to have got back to more or less full health. Certainly the people that I know, nobody else has got back to full health aside from me. I think I am the only one that I know who has got back to full health. And the difference between me and every other person is that they had an operation and I didn't. I refused the operation. And the only medical assistance I had was pills to lower my blood pressure, which had a really depressing effect on me. I stuck them out for a month and then I gave them up. And painkillers again, which I just took for a month. Once I got through the first month in bed, I started getting up and about, and it took me a while. I'd say it took me at least 6 months before I felt like I was fully functioning, and probably about a year before it was like I'd never had a brain hemorrhage at all. But I'm here. That was over 15 years ago now. And I have little faith in the medical establishment at all. Little faith in it. I work in care work at the moment, and one of my clients, I can't name him for confidentiality reasons, but one of my clients has got, and I'm not even going to tell what type of cancer it is, but has got a type of cancer and it has been declared terminal. And he went to hospital because he was having problems, and they have perforated a part of his body in their clumsy attempts to heal him. And now he really, the difference in him between before and after that hospital trip is just absolutely fucking appalling. I've got doctor friends who are going to hate me for this video, but is so much incompetence in the medical establishment that I am extremely reluctant to put myself in their trust. Not just the doctors and the nurses and everything else, but I mean, if you think about it, what do they really know about bodies? They don't even accept the existence of a soul. They don't accept the idea that there are subtle energies that run through the body, even though, Chinese medicine, Indian yoga has known about these things for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. These doctors are trained to believe that this is only a meat suit. It doesn't even have an animating soul. Even if they kind of believe in God a little bit, they still don't really understand that there's a massive connection between the aura, the soul, the body. And if they cannot accept that at a fundamental level, how can they treat this as anything other than a meat suit? And a meat suit that they don't really understand, especially when it comes to this little noodle here. They haven't a fucking clue about it. They are pissing in the wind. I mean, when I was offered when I was offered an operation on my brain, I just thought, the image I had was of someone tossing a caber into my head, because this brain, and your brain, my brain, everybody's brains, imagine them like being every single computer in the world connected by not just one internet, but multi-dimensional internets. That's what your brain's like. It's like millions and millions and millions of little computers, powerful computers that are telling your cells to do things, telling your skin to do things, telling you your body is just a hive of activity and information. And this computer up here is beyond anything that we've ever invented, and it's beyond even the analogy of every single computer in the world connected by millions of different internets. And doctors actually think that they can treat this effectively? No. It's luck when they succeed, and most of the times when they do brain operations, as I've seen with the people that I know that have received brain operations, they have failed. So, yes, the colon is perhaps not as complicated an organ as the brain, I'll give you that, and the liver too is not as complicated as the brain, but there are people who believe, and I'm not sure that I disagree with them, that our organs are the roots of our emotions. And as we are complicated emotional creatures, I'm not sure how healthy it is to fuck with our organs either. I don't want a bit of my liver cut out. I don't want a bit of my colon cut out. Because I'm sure that will bring its own complications. I'm really, really unconvinced. And so I will hold off going to see a doctor about it. And I know some of you will think I'm absolutely fucking mad. But yes, I am absolutely fucking mad. But that is also my intention, to live a very long and very healthy and a holistic life. And I'm willing to share my journey, share my experiences, and share my knowledge with you all. In the hope that it will be useful and instructive. I know that some of you just think I'm a fucking nutcase, and I accept that. And you can write your comments telling me I'm a fucking nutcase if you want. That's fine. If it makes you feel better getting it out your system, right, and you're a fucking nutcase, then I invite you to do so. But you know what they say, the old cliche, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I refuse to go down the normal route that normal people go down, because I don't see that as a good route. I don't see the way that normal people live as a good thing, and I don't want to participate. So I'm going to take my risk, I'm going to take my chances, I'm going to walk down the path least travelled, without signposts, which a path that very few people have walked before me, or I don't know that many people that have walked this path. So yeah, I'm going to share it with you, and you know, if I disappear off Facebook in a year, you can go, yeah, stupid cunt, you know. But I might well be talking to you in 100 years' time, at the age of 150, going, yeah, I fucking did the right thing. Most of you will be dead by then, of course, but never mind. Your sons and daughters will appreciate me, maybe even your grandchildren too. So let's see what happens. Goodbye, love and blessings from a slightly ill nutcase.